Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. I think I stopped loving you years ago, honestly. My wife said it so coldly in marriage counseling that even the therapist looked horrified. I simply stood up, placed my ring on the table, and said, "Then we're done here." I walked out while she sat stammering. "Wait, I didn't mean right now. I'm Brian Fletcher, 32, and I'd been married to Amanda for 6 years. We'd been in counseling for 3 months, every Thursday at 6 p.m., $180 a session that came out of our joint account. The account I funded about 75% of, if we're being honest. That Thursday started like the others. I drove us downtown from our Capitol Hill condo, Amanda scrolling through her phone in the passenger seat. She'd been quiet lately, distant, but I'd chalked it up to work stress. We'd been together 8 years total, married for 6, and I convinced myself that counseling was working, that we were making progress. I was wrong. Dr. Patricia Wells had her office near Pike Place Market, one of those spaces with abstract art on the walls and a diffuser pumping lavender into the air. Amanda and I sat on opposite ends of the gray couch, the way we always did. Dr. Wells asked Amanda how she'd been feeling about our relationship this week. Amanda took a breath. "I've been thinking a lot about honesty, about what it means to be truly honest with yourself and your partner." I nodded, encouraging. This sounded good. Honest communication was what we needed. "I think I stopped loving you years ago, honestly." The words hung in the air. Dr. Wells' pen froze mid-note. Even she looked shocked, and she was supposed to be professionally neutral. Amanda said it matter-of-factly, almost with relief, like she'd been holding this truth for so long that finally speaking it felt good. I sat there processing. Years ago. Not recently. Not something we could fix. Years. I stood up. My hands were steadier than they should have been as I twisted my wedding ring off my finger. I placed it carefully on the coffee table between us, right next to the box of tissues and the coaster with our water glasses. "Then we're done here." Amanda's eyes went wide. "Wait, I didn't mean right now." "When did you mean?" I picked up my jacket from the arm of the couch. "I mean, I'm working through feelings. That's what therapy is for." "You don't work through loving someone," I said. "You either do or you don't." I walked to the door. Behind me, I heard Dr. Wells say something about processing and taking a moment, but I was already in the hallway. Already done. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. I got to my car in the parking garage and sat behind the wheel for a minute. My phone buzzed. Amanda. Then again. And again. I didn't look at the messages. I drove north on Aurora Avenue and stopped at the Target near the bridge. Bought a toothbrush, deodorant, a 2-pack of t-shirts. Essentials for a night away from home. Maybe longer. I texted Amanda from the parking lot. "Staying at Greg's tonight. Need time to think." The responses came immediately. Paragraphs about how I was misunderstanding, how she didn't mean it the way it sounded, how we needed to talk this through. I read the first one and didn't bother with the rest. 6 years of marriage. If she stopped loving me years ago, that meant she'd been going through the motions for how long? 2 years? 3? 4? How many anniversaries had she celebrated with someone she didn't love? How many times had she said, "I love you," as a reflex instead of a truth? My brother Greg lived in Fremont in a 1-bedroom with exposed brick and too many plants. He opened the door holding a beer, took one look at my face, and stepped aside. "What happened?" I set my Target bag on his couch. "Amanda told me in therapy that she stopped loving me years ago." Greg blinked. "Years ago?" Her exact words. "And you?" Took off my ring and left. He handed me his beer and went to get another from the fridge. We sat on his couch, and I told him the whole story. Greg listened without interrupting, which is more than most people would do. "Maybe you overreacted," he said finally. "People say things they don't mean when they're emotional." She wasn't emotional. That's the thing. She was calm, relieved, even. Still walking out. "If your wife told you she hadn't loved you for years, would you stay?" Greg opened his mouth, then closed it. He took a long drink of his beer. "I plan every date night," I continued. "Every vacation, every weekend activity, every anniversary dinner. I manage the household finances, remember her family's birthdays, schedule the car maintenance. I do all of it because that's what you do when you love someone." "What does she do?" Greg was quiet. "She shows up," I said. "She's pleasant company. But partnership? Investment? I can't remember the last time she did something that showed she was thinking about my needs instead of her own." So what are you going to do? Treat her the way she treats me. Like a roommate I'm friendly with, nothing more. That's going to blow up your marriage, man. It already blew up. She's just mad that I'm not pretending otherwise. I stayed up late on Greg's couch, staring at the ceiling. Amanda sent 17 more messages. I read them around midnight. They all said the same thing in different ways. She didn't mean it like that. I was being extreme. We needed to talk face to face. Please come home. Not once did she say she'd been wrong about not loving me. Just wrong about saying it out loud. Friday morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls. I texted Amanda. I'm going to stay at Greg's for a while. She responded immediately. For how long? Until we figure out logistics. Logistics of what? Of you living with someone you don't love. My phone rang. I sent it to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Finally, she texted, "You're being unfair." I didn't respond to that one. At work, I sat at my desk and opened a spreadsheet. I listed every subscription service we had, every recurring charge to our joint account. Spotify Premium, $22 a month split between us. I downgraded to an individual account. Netflix, same thing. I removed her profile. Her Audible subscription that I paid for, canceled. Amazon Prime, removed her from the household account. I got a notification that my credit card had been removed from her Apple Pay. She'd noticed. Her text came through. Why did you remove me from Netflix? Husbands pay for their wives' entertainment. I replied. We're not in that relationship anymore. You're being ridiculous. I'm being accurate. Next, I called Canlis. We had a standing reservation every third Saturday of the month, our tradition for 6 years. The hostess knew us by name. Hi, this is Brian Fletcher. I need to cancel my standing reservation. Oh no. Is everything all right? Change of plans. Thank you for everything. I hung up before she could ask more questions. By lunch, I'd saved myself about $85 a month in subscriptions. Over $1,000 a year on services for someone who didn't love me. It felt practical. Necessary. Saturday morning, I drove to the Chase Bank on Broadway. The banker, a woman named Teresa who'd helped us open our joint account 4 years ago, smiled when she saw me. Mr. Fletcher, what can I help you with today? I need to open a separate checking account. Her smile faltered slightly. Of course. Personal or joint? Personal. It took 30 minutes to set everything up. I had my direct deposit changed to the new account. The joint account would still receive a deposit from me, but only for my exact half of our fixed bills. Rent, utilities, internet. I calculated it precisely, $1,650 a month. Previously, I'd been putting in $4,200. I created a detailed spreadsheet that night at Greg's apartment. Every expense from the past year, categorized and tallied. Date nights averaged $400 a month. Groceries, $600 total, though Amanda only contributed about $150. Her car payment, which I'd been covering because she'd been between jobs for a few months, $380. Gifts for her family that I bought, about $150 a month averaged out. I'd been subsidizing her lifestyle to the tune of $2,500 a month, $30,600 a year. For someone who hadn't loved me in years. I emailed her the spreadsheet with the subject line, Updated Financial Arrangement. In the body of the email, I wrote, per our conversation Thursday, adjusting financial support to reflect our actual relationship status. I've deposited my share of fixed expenses into the joint account. All other expenses are now separate. She called immediately. I let it ring twice, then answered. What the hell is this, Brian? A budget breakdown. I thought you'd want clarity. You're cutting me off? I'm treating you like a roommate. Roommates split bills 50-50. That's what I'm doing. I can't afford that. Then get a roommate who can subsidize you. I'm not available for that position anymore. You're being cruel. You stopped loving me years ago, but expected me to keep funding your lifestyle. How is that not cruel? Silence on the other end. Then, that's not what I meant. What did you mean? More silence. Come back when you can answer that, I said, and hung up. Sunday morning, Amanda showed up at Greg's apartment. I heard her voice in the hallway, heard Greg trying to run interference. I came out of the bathroom to find her standing in the doorway. You need to call before coming here, I said. This is crazy, Brian. We're married. Are we? Because Thursday you said you stopped loving me years ago. I was having a bad day. A bad day where you accidentally told the truth? Her eyes filled with tears. Please come home. I need you to be honest with me. When did you stop loving me? She hesitated. The hesitation told me everything. Maybe I didn't mean it that way, she said finally. So you're lying now? Or you were lying Thursday? I don't know. I'm confused. Come back when you're not confused, I said. Come back when you can tell me the truth about when you stopped, why you stayed, and what you actually want now. She left. Greg stood in his kitchen, looking uncomfortable. You're really doing this, he said. I really am. At work on Monday morning, my colleague Dennis stopped by my desk. We'd worked together for 5 years, long enough that he noticed when something was off. You look different, he said, leaning against the divider. Different how? I don't know. Lighter? You've been stressed for months, and now you're just calm. I minimized the spreadsheet I'd been working on. Amanda and I are separating. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's rough. Is it? I feel like I should be more upset than I am. Dennis pulled up a chair. Want to talk about it? I found myself explaining the whole thing. The therapy session, the revelation, my decision to stop performing a relationship that didn't exist. Dennis listened without the usual platitudes. So she wanted all the husband benefits without actually being a wife, he said when I finished. That's exactly it. And now she's surprised you stopped providing them? Furious, actually. Dennis laughed. Good for you, man. I watched you run yourself into the ground trying to make her happy for years. Maybe it's time to make yourself happy. The conversation stuck with me all day. I'd gotten so used to people telling me relationships take work, that marriage is hard, that I needed to try harder. Nobody had ever suggested that maybe the problem wasn't my effort level. Monday, Amanda texted me about a work crisis. Her presentation to a major client had gone badly, and she was spiraling. The old version of me would have called immediately, would have spent an hour on the phone listening and encouraging, would have ordered dinner from her favorite Thai place and had it delivered to her office, would have sent her texts throughout the afternoon reminding her how capable she was. Instead, I texted back, sorry to hear that. I'm sure you'll figure it out. She responded, that's it. What else would you like me to say? Usually you make me feel better. That's what husbands do. I'm unclear what we are now. You're being cruel. I'm being appropriate. You don't love me. Why would you want comfort from someone you don't love? No response for 3 hours. Then, I really needed you today. You have friends, family, a therapist. Use those resources. Monday evening was supposed to be date night. We'd had standing Monday dinners for years, alternating who picked the restaurant. Amanda made a reservation at the Walrus and the Carpenter, our favorite oyster place. She texted me the details at 5. I didn't respond. At 7, she sent a photo. She was sitting alone at a table for 2, the restaurant busy around her. The caption, I'm here. Please. I texted back. Date nights are for people in romantic relationships. We're married. Legally, yes. Emotionally, apparently not. She sent more photos throughout the evening. The oysters we always shared. The wine we always ordered. At 9, she texted, I sat here for 2 hours waiting for you. I never said I was coming. You made assumptions. What happened to you? You're not the man I married. You didn't love the man you married. So I'm becoming someone else. Tuesday at lunch, I met Amanda's best friend Hannah at the Starbucks Reserve on Capitol Hill. She'd texted asking to talk, and I figured I owed her the courtesy. Hannah got straight to the point. Amanda is devastated. She says you abandoned her. What did she tell you? That she was being vulnerable in therapy and you walked out. Did she mention what she said? That she was working through doubts about the relationship. She said she stopped loving me years ago. Not doubts. Not struggling. Stopped loving. Hannah's coffee cup paused halfway to her mouth. Years ago? She said it like it was a fact she'd accepted a long time ago. Maybe she was exaggerating? I pulled out my phone and scrolled to Amanda's texts from the past few days. Look at her messages. She's never once disputed what she said. She's only complained about the consequences. Hannah read them, her expression shifting. She told me you were being unreasonable. What do you think would be reasonable? Pretending she loves me? Continuing to fund her lifestyle while she figures out if she wants to stay with someone she doesn't love? What do you want from her? I want honesty about when she stopped, why she stayed, and what she actually wants now. Until she can give me that, I'm treating her the way she's been treating me. Like someone she coexists with, nothing more. What do you think would be reasonable? Pretending she loves me? Continuing to fund her lifestyle while she figures out if she wants to stay with someone she doesn't love? What do you want from her? I want honesty about when she stopped, why she stayed, and what she actually wants now. Until she can give me that, I'm treating her the way she's been treating me. Like someone she coexists with, nothing more. Hannah set down her phone. And if she says she does love you, then she's lying now or was lying Thursday. Either way, I can't trust it. That afternoon, I drove to Green Lake Park. Amanda and I used to jog there together every Sunday morning, back when we first started dating. I hadn't been in over 2 years. She'd stopped wanting to go, and I'd stopped suggesting it. I was walking the loop when I heard my name. Kyle Brennan, a friend from college I hadn't seen in probably 3 years, was stretching near the water. Brian Fletcher. Man, how long has it been? We caught up while walking. He'd just moved back to Seattle from Portland, was working in tech, the usual. Eventually, he asked about Amanda. We're splitting up, I said. Seriously? You guys seemed solid. She told me in marriage counseling that she stopped loving me years ago. Kyle stopped walking. Years ago? And she just stayed? Apparently. What did you do? Took off my ring and left. Haven't really looked back. He started laughing, then caught himself. Sorry, man, that's not funny. But good for you. That takes guts. It feels more like common sense. Most people don't have common sense when it comes to relationships. They stay way past the expiration date, keep pouring into something that's already empty. He resumed walking. I did that with my ex. 3 years of trying to make someone love me who clearly didn't. Wish I'd had your clarity earlier. We exchanged numbers before parting ways. He texted me later that evening. Seriously though, proud of you for choosing yourself. It was the first time someone had framed it that way. Not as me abandoning Amanda, but as me choosing myself. Wednesday evening, Amanda insisted we meet at the condo to really talk. I agreed, mostly because we'd have to face each other eventually. I arrived at 7 to find she'd prepared. Her makeup was done. She wore the dress I used to say looked beautiful on her, and there was wine breathing on the counter. Something was cooking that smelled like my favorite pasta dish. I sat at the kitchen counter. Didn't touch the wine she poured for me. I need you to understand what I meant on Thursday, she said. I'm listening. I was trying to explain that our marriage has become comfortable but not passionate. I wanted to work on rekindling things. By saying you stopped loving me years ago, that came out wrong. What should you have said? That I miss feeling in love. With me? Or in general? She hesitated. That hesitation was an answer. Let me ask you something, I said. When did you stop doing the things that showed you loved me? What do you mean? When did you stop initiating plans? When did you stop checking in during my hard days? When did you stop suggesting activities I'd enjoy? When did you stop asking about my goals, my dreams, my frustrations? I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. You don't know because you stopped doing those things so long ago you forgot they existed. I've been busy. I pulled out my phone and opened my calendar. I planned every date night, every weekend activity, every vacation, every anniversary. What have you planned in the last year? She stared at the screen. The calendar was color-coded, every event I'd organized in blue, every event she'd organized in. There was no second color. I thought you enjoyed doing that, she said quietly. I did it because I loved you, but you weren't doing equivalent things because. I let the sentence hang between us. That's not fair, she said. What's not fair is expecting me to love you like a husband when you don't love me like a wife. I do love you. Since Thursday? Or did that love reappear when the Netflix stopped working? She flinched. I need to know something, I said, and I need you to be completely honest. Okay, if I had reacted differently on Thursday, if I had cried and begged you to love me again and promised to change, would you still respect me? She opened her mouth, closed it. Would you have felt more secure in the marriage or less attracted to me? The silence stretched out. I had my answer. You don't have to say it. Your silence already did. It's not that simple, she said. It is. You wanted me to fight for you, to prove my love was bigger than your rejection. I wanted you to show you cared, by accepting that you don't love me, by understanding I'm going through something. And while you go through something, I'm supposed to keep being the perfect husband to someone who isn't being a wife. I stood up to leave. Where are you going? Back to Greg's. This conversation is over. Brian, please. Please what? Please keep funding your life. Please keep planning everything. Please keep loving you while you figure out if you feel like loving me back. I left the pasta on the stove, left the wine on the counter, left her standing in the kitchen of a condo I'd been paying more than my share of rent on for 6 years. Thursday morning, my phone rang from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Brian, this is Dr. Patricia Wells. I sat up straighter. Therapists didn't usually call clients individually. Hi, Dr. Wells. I wanted to check in with you. What happened last week was significant. She told me the truth. I responded to the truth. I've spoken with Amanda. She claims she misspoke. Do you believe her? There was a long pause. I believe she's afraid of the consequences of what she said. That's different from having said something she didn't mean. In my professional opinion, Brian, Amanda has been emotionally checked out for a while. She may not have realized how far until she said it out loud. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to make decisions based on reality, not on what Amanda wishes she'd meant. Thank you for the honesty. For what it's worth, your reaction showed remarkable self-respect. Many people would have begged. I did that for the first 3 months of counseling. Begging doesn't work on someone who's already gone. After we hung up, I sat in Greg's apartment and thought about the last 3 months. How I'd been the one reading books about communication, taking notes after each session, practicing active listening techniques. Amanda had shown up, sat on the couch, and waited for the hour to be over. That evening, Amanda texted asking to meet at the condo. Said she had something important to tell me. I drove over at 8, half expecting another performance. Instead, I found her sitting at the kitchen table, no makeup, eyes red from crying. She looked exhausted. I need to tell you the truth, she said. The whole truth. I sat down across from her and waited. About 2 years ago, I started feeling like we were just roommates. Like the excitement was gone. Okay. I talked to Hannah about it. She told me that long marriages go through phases, that it was normal. And I believed her. But it never got better. I stopped feeling anything romantic for you. But you were so good to me, and our life was comfortable, and I didn't want to lose that. So you stayed, even though you didn't love me. I thought maybe the feelings would come back. She was crying now. And then, they just didn't. Why did you agree to counseling 3 months ago? Because you asked. And I thought maybe a therapist could fix whatever was wrong with me. Wrong with you? Why couldn't I love someone who was so perfect for me? I'm not perfect for you. I'm perfect for someone who wants to love me back. She cried harder. I thought if I said it out loud in therapy, maybe you'd, I don't know, prove me wrong somehow. You wanted me to fight for you. I wanted to feel something again. But then you just left. You didn't fight. You didn't argue. You just accepted it and walked away. What should I have done? I don't know. Something other than this coldness. This isn't coldness, Amanda. This is self-preservation. You stopped loving me 2 years ago, but wanted me to keep loving you enough for both of us. I didn't know what else to do. You could have been honest. You could have left. Instead, you let me invest 2 more years into someone who wasn't invested in me. The silence that followed felt final. I'm filing for divorce, I said. Please don't. I think I'm starting to feel something again. You're feeling loss. That's different from love. How do you know? Because you didn't miss me until I stopped serving you. That's not true. When I canceled the subscriptions, you complained. When I split the finances, you were angry. When I stopped providing emotional support, you called me cruel. You never once said you missed me. You missed what I did for you. She went quiet. You missed what I did for you, not who I am. What do you want from me? Nothing. That's the point. I finally want nothing from you. So that's it. 8 years, and you just walk away? You walked away 2 years ago. You just didn't tell me. I stood to leave. She stayed sitting at the table, her face in her hands. I'm sorry, she said. I'm really, truly sorry. I believe you. But I'm still done. I picked up my wedding ring from where she'd placed it back on the dresser and put it in my pocket. This time, I'd return it to the jeweler. Friday afternoon, I rented a small truck and drove back to the condo. I'd timed it for when Amanda would be at work. I moved methodically through the rooms, taking what was mine. The bookshelf I'd bought before we met. My record collection. The vintage turntable. My clothes, my laptop, the camping gear I'd had since college. I left her the bed. Too many memories attached to it. Left the couch, the kitchen table, most of the dishes. I took the coffee maker because I'd bought it, but left the French press she preferred. On the counter, I left a note. Divorce papers will be sent next week. I've continued to pay my half of rent through the end of the lease, for months. After that, the condo is your responsibility. Take care of yourself. I did a final walk through the empty rooms. It should have felt sad, but instead, I felt lighter. No more managing her emotions. No more planning her happiness. No more funding her comfort while she decided whether I was worth loving. At Greg's apartment, we unloaded boxes in silence. When we finished, Greg handed me a beer. How do you feel? Like I've been holding my breath for 2 years and finally let it out. The next morning, I went to the jeweler in University Village where I'd bought Amanda's engagement ring 7 years ago. The same older man was behind the counter, polishing something with a soft cloth. "Mr. Fletcher," he said, recognizing me immediately. "What can I do for you today?" I pulled out my wedding band. "I'd like to return this, if possible." His face fell. He took the ring and examined it. "I'm sorry to hear that. This is a difficult thing." "It's the right thing. May I ask what happened?" "You don't have to answer." "She stopped loving me years ago. I just found out last week." He set the ring down carefully. "I've been doing this for 40 years. Sold thousands of rings, taken back hundreds. You know what I've learned?" I shook my head. The people who come back angry, bitter, wanting to pawn their rings for cash out of spite, they usually regret it. But the people who come back clear-eyed, at peace with their decision, they never come back a second time with regrets. Which one am I? You tell me. I thought about it. Clear-eyed. He smiled. Then you're doing the right thing. He processed the return and handed me a check. I hope your next purchase here is made with more certainty. If there is a next time, there will be. Men like you don't stay single long. I left the jewelry store and stopped at Victrola Coffee for an Americano. Sat outside in the morning sun, watching people walk by. Couples holding hands, families with strollers, individuals lost in their own worlds. All of them carrying their own stories of love and loss. My phone buzzed. "Amanda, can we please talk?" I put the phone in my pocket without responding. 3 months later, I had my own place in Fremont. Just a one-bedroom, but it was mine. I decorated it the way I wanted, minimalist, focused on my music collection and photography equipment. No compromises, no discussions about whether something matched or fit her aesthetic. I was saving over $2,000 a month. My bank account had a comfortable buffer for the first time in years. I joined the climbing gym at Seattle Bouldering Project and started taking a photography class at the School of Visual Concepts on Saturday mornings. Things I'd talked about doing for years but never had time for because weekends were for whatever Amanda wanted to do. Amanda texted occasionally. "How are you? I miss you. Can we talk?" I responded briefly or not at all. The divorce was proceeding smoothly, uncontested. No kids, no shared property left, clean split. She asked to meet for closure. I agreed to coffee at Café Ladro in Fremont, neutral territory. She looked different. Thinner, tired. She'd cut her hair short. "I wanted to tell you I understand now," she said. "Understand what?" "Why you left." "What I did." "Okay. I've been in therapy alone. Dr. Wells helped me see that I was taking you for granted. I'm glad you're getting clarity. Is there any chance?" "No." She nodded, tears forming. "I thought so. You seem different. Happy." "I am. Do you hate me?" "No. I just don't want to be married to you." We finished our coffee in silence. She left first. I sat there for a while, watching people walk by outside, feeling nothing but peace. A week later at the climbing gym, someone approached me about my photography. I'd been taking shots of people on the walls, trying to capture the moment of movement and decision. "These are really good," she said. "Do you do this professionally?" "Just a hobby." "I'm Claire." She held out her hand. "Brian." We talked for an hour after climbing. She was a software developer, 29, new to Seattle. She suggested coffee, and I found myself saying yes. Our first date was simple. Coffee at Victrola, the same place Amanda and I used to go, but it felt completely different. Claire asked about my interests and actually listened to the answers. She remembered details, followed up on things I'd mentioned in passing. On our second date, she planned a hike at Rattlesnake Ledge. She'd researched trails and picked one she thought I'd enjoy based on what I'd told her about my photography. On our third date, she brought me a book about landscape photography that she'd seen at Elliott Bay Book Company. I was there for a work thing and thought of you. I realized I'd forgotten what reciprocation felt like. A few weeks later, I was at Volunteer Park on a Sunday morning with my camera. I'd woken up early, grabbed coffee, and driven to the conservatory just as the sun was coming up. The light was perfect, golden, and sharp. I sat up near the water tower, adjusting my lens, and found myself thinking about Amanda. Not with anger or regret, but with something closer to gratitude. She'd given me the truth, even if she hadn't meant to. That truth had freed me from spending more years in a one-sided marriage. A woman jogging by stopped to watch me work. Beautiful morning for photos. Best time of day. You look happy, she said. Not many people look genuinely happy at 6 in the morning. I am happy. She smiled and continued her jog. I took another dozen shots as the sun climbed higher, then packed up my gear. Drove back to my apartment, made breakfast, called Greg to plan a hiking trip for next weekend. My phone rang. Amanda. I sent it to voicemail. Later that afternoon, Claire texted about a new restaurant in Ballard she wanted to try. I said yes immediately. Have you been married before? She asked over dinner at a Thai restaurant in Ballard. Yes. It ended recently. Bad breakup. Honest breakup. She stopped loving me years ago, and I stopped pretending it was okay. That must have hurt. It did, but staying would have hurt more. I respect that you knew your worth. Something shifted in my chest. Someone who saw my self-respect as strength, not coldness. That night in my apartment, I thought about the past few months. Amanda had taught me that love is an action, not just a feeling. That when someone stops choosing you, they've already left. That self-respect isn't cruelty, it's survival. I mourned what I thought I had, not what I actually had. My phone buzzed. Claire, sending me a meme about terrible climbing form. I smiled and responded. I wasn't waiting to be loved anymore. I was living like someone worth loving, and finding people who agreed. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.